Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Kassandra and I'm going to take you through the next edition of the elemental flows. Today we're focusing on the element of water. So the qualities for water really have to do with creativity, deep feeling. Often water is used to represent the unconscious or the subconscious. This is also really about going with the flow, about being fluid and really embracing the fullness of our emotions. If we think about, our tears and like our own internal waters and the watery depths of our own being. This also has to relate with the sacral svadhistana chakra. So this is going to be very much a hip opening, fluid practice. So we're not really going to be holding static grounding poses. This is really about continuous fluid flowing motion. Really wonderful if you're looking to increase flexibility through your hips. And I would say this is probably good for all levels. I'm not using any props. However, at some point we are going to go into pigeon pose. That can be a pose where some people want extra support with some blocks or some blankets. So whatever you have at home, you can definitely grab it. But otherwise, we're really just looking to cultivate this fluidity of being and this deep connection to sensuality and feeling overall. So let's begin in tabletop pose. And rather than doing a traditional cat and cow, again, we're going to make this a little bit more fluid. So start by just tracing circles with your hips, and you can go over to the right first, making them as big or as small as feels good to you. And reversing the direction of those circles, going over to the left, still pushing into your fingertips and knuckles. And we want to notice any areas that feel stuck, stagnant, or stiff. Can we make it a little bit more fluid and comfortable? Coming back to a neutral alignment in tabletop, this time you're going to trace circles with your hips as well as with your head and shoulders. So this is like a circular cat and cow. And I invite you to really close your eyes when you do this. The element of water is also really about connecting to our intuition and connecting to the feeling body. So rather than focusing on whether or not you think you're doing it correctly, just focus on how the movement feels. And without overthinking it, just start to go in the opposite direction. So like you're tracing big circles, drawing them with your tailbone and drawing them with the crown of your head. Still breathing in and out through your nose. And coming all the way back through to center, let's find downward facing dog. Walk your hands forward, tuck the toes under, and lift your hips all the way up towards the sky. In this down dog, we're going to move through and do little, what my teacher, Sienna Sherman, calls Shakti waves. So you're lifting your heels up as high as they go and ripple forward through like a wave, through to your plank pose. And once you're in plank, bend your knees and then ripple and undulate all the way back to your down dog. And we'll do that 4 more times. So inhale, slowly rippling forward through plank, and exhale. This body wave brings you all the way back. Inhale, lift up. And bend the knees, send it back. Let's just do one more here. Inhale, heels come up, ripple forward. Exhale all the way back. And let's hold our downward dog from here. With your feet at least hip width distance apart, you might even want to have them a little bit wider. We're going to lift our heels and then drop the feet over to the right. Come up onto your left fingertips and work on bending both knees so you're getting a big side body stretch and then straightening the legs. So just bend and stretch. If you want to do a little bit of a deeper variation, you can completely lift your left hand off the mat so it's a bit more like a side plank pose. And coming back through to center, let's switch sides. Drop your heels and your feet over to the left. Come up onto your right fingertips. Bend into the knees. Keep your hips up high. And just bend and stretch here a few times. Maybe your right hand completely comes off the mat. Breathing in. And back into our downward facing dog. Walk your hands to the back of the mat for your ragdoll fold. Grabbing a hold of your elbows. You can just sway a little bit side to side, maybe lightly turning the head. So water can be a representation for stillness, silence, contemplation. When we think about a quiet body of water like a lake, but it can also be extremely powerful, like this big creative force when we think of big tidal waves. So perhaps you need to cultivate a little bit more stillness, and perhaps you need to cultivate a little bit more force. Just release your fingertips down to the mat. You might need to widen your feet for this. We'll come into Malasana or yogi squat. So heels in, toes out as you bend your knees and drop the hips down. And from here, we're just going to go opening side to side. So the knees always stay open, squeezing into the glutes. You can reach your right arm out, left arm up. Big breath in here. And exhale to release. We'll switch sides. Inhale, left fingertips out to the floor, right arm up. Exhale to release. Twice more on each side. And inhale. Exhale. Once more each side. And release. Last one. And back through to center. Let's find tabletop pose from here onto hands and knees. We'll be transitioning into pigeon pose from here. So my right knee is going to place itself behind my right wrist. For me, for my body, it does feel good to have a 90-degree angle here with my leg. You don't need to have that. It's perfectly fine if your heel is closer in towards your seat. So just choosing the option that feels the best for you right now as you stretch that left leg back. And we're going to hold ourselves up here. Rather than folding directly forward right off the bat, we're going to find a little bit of a side body stretch. So can you walk your hands over towards the right side of your mat and lengthen out as you reach your left arm out to the side? Just take 2 deep breaths here, really stretching out super long. Coming all the way up, let's find the side body stretch to the other side. So this time my right hand is extending over towards the top left corner of my mat, crawling those fingers out, folding down. Lifting all the way back up, and this time let's fold directly through the center. And we're not holding this for too long. Just a few breaths here as you melt the heart down, melt through the hips. It's a really deep hip opening pose. And you can walk your hands in, go ahead and lift head and chest. From here, you're just going to lean onto your right hip so that you can bring your left leg out in front of you. Finding a variation of head to knee. So we have our right foot to the inside of that left thigh. We're going to alternate from head to knee into baby wild thing. So folding forward, you can make this a more passive style fold, letting your spine naturally round. And then coming all the way up, bring your right hand back behind you. Reach your left arm up and over, press and lift your hips. Big inhale here. And as you exhale, bring your hips down. And this time, see if you can bring your right hand to the outer edge of your foot, bringing your head to knee. Inhale back into that baby wild thing. Pick up the hips. Exhale to fold, head to knee. Twice more like this. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. And exhale. Folding down. Come all the way back up and through to center and just cross your left shin, stacking it directly in front of the right. And we're going to fold forward from here. Stay up onto your fingertips so the elbows are lifted off of the mat. Walking your hands in, tabletop pose, so we can do the same thing towards the other side, beginning with our pigeon pose. So totally normal if one side feels different than the other. Start by bringing your left knee behind your left wrist and choose where you want to have that left ankle. Maybe the foot is closer towards the seat, or maybe it's more of a 90-degree angle. Evenly distributing your weight between both hip bones. Let's start by reaching our right hand all the way over, so towards that left knee, crawling out and folding down. So adding lateral flexion, which just means a side bend, to this hip opener. Cultivating a different quality of feeling, different sensations. Let's lift on up, side bend to the other side. So left hand reaches all the way over towards the right top corner of your mat. Think of stretching out of your lower back. And coming back up. And this time we'll fold directly forward and through to center. You can stay up on your hands, on your elbows. If you have props at home, you can slide them under. Slow, deep breathing. Element of water is also meant to be healing and soothing. Touching on the healing quality of our tears, the fullness of our emotions. And you can walk and lift back up. We're going to come into that head to knee pose. So just leaning on your left hip a little bit so that you can swing that right leg out in front of you, bringing the left foot to the inside of that thigh. Do more of a passive fold this first time. So just let your spine naturally round, palms facing up, more of a yin style forward fold. I'm not pushing or pulling in this first one. And then we'll walk the hands in, slowly lift on up. Left hand goes behind, right arm reaches up and over. Baby wild thing as you press and lift the hips up, really stretching. Exhale to fold. See if you can bring your left hand to the outer edge of your right foot. Inhale, baby wild thing, lift up. And exhale, head to knee. 3 more, rise. And fold. 2 more. Last one. Wild thing, right arm stretches up and over. Exhale, left hand grabs towards that right foot. Coming all the way up, bend into your right knee so that you can just stagger your right shin slightly in front of the left. Stay up onto your fingertips, elbows lifted as you fold on down. Let's walk our hands in. Lifting up. And you can just turn to face the long edge of your mat, opening your legs into the straddle shape. So as wide as feels good for you, for your hips and for your hamstrings today. So you really don't need to go too far into this one, just so long as you feel some sensation through the back of the legs. And we're going to alternate side bending side to side, really fluid and flowy. Reach your right arm all the way up and over. And coming up and switching sides. Maybe touching and reaching for the toes. Take 2 more on each side. Right arm stretches out. And then the left, big side body stretch. Last one, each side. Left arm up. And coming all the way back through to center, bend into the knees. Come to take a seat, and before we close, just take a little twist. Left hand to your right knee, right hand back. Stay lifted and tall. And twisting to the other side, right hand to your left knee. Coming all the way back to center. Let's close with a seated meditation, and you can take jala mudra. This is your water mudra. So just bringing the thumb and pinky fingers together. I like to turn the palms face up for this one. Resting them on the knees, closing your eyes. And using this as an opportunity to reflect on how you best connect to the water element. Perhaps you'd like to internally repeat a few water affirmations, really simple. Something like, I am fluid, or I go with the flow. I am sensitive, I'm creative. Or I cultivate stillness. Whichever resonates most with you. Taking just a few minutes right here. Release jala mudra and bring your hands together at the heart. We'll close this practice together by chanting Om 1 time. Let's inhale to chant, breathe in deeply. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing this water-themed fluid flow with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you thought. I'll be sure to link to the full playlist of my elemental classes that I have here. I have quite a few already if you wanted to give them a try. Please subscribe, and hopefully we'll be practicing again together very soon.